to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
Let's go. We're back, baby. After a 4-day hiatus in the lovely Hawaii. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it correctly because I still don't really know how. Hawaii? I'm not. It just doesn't sound right. Nonetheless, I have returned, and we got a hell of a show for you today. All of a sudden, I come back. We got Jerry Jones calling out radio hosts. We got Golden State Warriors basketball back in action. They beat down the Lakers down in Las Vegas. Tom Brady's now an owner. And are we potentially going to get a Subway Series in the World Series? There's a lot going on here. Oh, and by the way, it's Chiefs week. So yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about that. 49ers, Chiefs, part of bajillion. I don't know if we can call it a rivalry because, it takes two to tango when it comes to a rivalry. And this has been one-sided, all in favor of the Chiefs. So we'll get into that as the show goes on. But good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school. It is a hump day, so happy hump day to all you lovely people.
Happy hump day, people. Happy hump day.
And you can hit us up at 888-957-9570. It's the pregame show. Joe Spadoni again, 888-957-9570. That's the number to call or text. The Comcast Business text line, which is always open. And you can also hit us up on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Go ahead and search 95.7 The Game on any of those platforms. Like, subscribe. Give me a follow at Spadoni_Joe on Twitter. You won't regret it. Or you might. Nah, who's to say, really? I haven't really been tweeting as much. When you're on vacation, you do one or the other. And I don't begrudge anyone if they, if they're one of those people that are on their phones all throughout vacation. It's like, put the phone down. If that's how you relax and maybe you're not on your phone as much, by all means. I mean, I was laying down in the grass, got the sand on my toes, looking out at the lovely water. And yeah, I was following along all the NFL action. By the way, I'm not going to hammer down this whole me being in Hawaii thing the entire show, but they got it figured out when it comes to NFL Sundays, baby. I mean, 7 a.m., I woke up because I was still kind of jet lagged, so I was really on like 10 o'clock time on Sunday morning. But I get up at 7, and I get all my football, and then at 10 o'clock, I got more football, and then at 1 o'clock, even more football, and then I have the rest of my day still after that. So all those people, you lovely people, you beautiful people living out in Hawaii, you guys have the best damn secret when it comes to ingesting NFL football. From right when the sun comes up, and then you got all afternoon to just do whatever you want. You got chores you got to do, you can still do it. You don't have to be distracted by the Sunday night football game, which was kind of a gross game. What was that, the Bengals and the Giants? Yikes. Although, that Monday night football game, oh my God. I was following along that one on my phone, and just, the Jets, they're going to jet. Hell, the refs tried to give that game away for both teams. It seemed at times. How many penalties were called? Like 24, 25? It was ridiculous. But Bills won it. And don't you know, both those teams made major moves yesterday, both getting bona fide number one wide receivers. The Bills, they trade for Amari Cooper, who's now been traded not once, not twice, but 3 times in his NFL career. Started off in Oakland, went to Dallas, then Cleveland, and now is going to Buffalo. He really is going all across the map. You start from California, then to Texas, then you go to Ohio, and now you're in upstate New York. That really bouncing all over the place. So the Browns make the move. They're just a laughingstock. They are clearly the worst team in the NFL with the worst situation in the NFL. You can see the Carolina Panthers, but the Panthers don't have to pay a guy like Deshaun Watson all the money the Browns are paying Deshaun Watson. Right? It's a joke, really. And you got Stefanski out here saying, yeah, we're going to stick with Deshaun. I think he gives a better chance to win than Jameis Winston. Really? Really? Or is it you paid him $1 bajillion in guaranteed money and you got to stick with your guy? That's what it feels like. And Stefanski, his Q rating was at an all-time high this time last year, right? When we got brought in Flacco, they made on that run. Hell, they beat the freaking 49ers who ended up going to the Super Bowl with P.J. Walker as their quarterback. So if I'm Stefanski, yeah, I try to kick Deshaun Watson to the curb as quick as possible. But is it a Stefanski decision or is it an ownership decision? Speaking of ownership, we'll get into that because that was a large part of yesterday's day in the NFL. The other move that was made yesterday, Davante Adams, welcome to the New York Jets. Raiders trade Davante Adams for a third-round pick, a conditional third-round pick that could become a second-round pick if Davante reaches first-team All-Pro, second-team All-Pro, or if the Jets reach the AFC Championship game. If I was a betting man, I'd probably say it's probably going to stay a third-round pick. But crazy things can happen. Maybe Davante Adams was the missing link all along. I have my reservations about that. But all of a sudden, it looks like his hamstring injury is miraculously healed because he's going to play this Sunday. Oh, look at that. It's amazing. A change of scenery could just do to your soft tissue. Heals it up real quick. Huh. Did you look at that? But that news broke yesterday. And I want to say I have Baldy sound on this. I'll get to it a little bit later. But Brian Baldinger joined the Morning Roast yesterday, as he does each and every Tuesday at 7:30. Find that entire interview on YouTube or on Twitter or on Twitch or on the free Odyssey app. Download that and favorite 95.7 The Game, that and thousands of other stations as well. And by the way, Brian Baldinger going to have breakfast with the roast this Friday in studio. Baldy plus 20 of the Morning Roasters. Can't wait. Can't freaking wait. And yeah, we're going over the all the little nuances of how that's going to work tomorrow. Friday, I should say. Sam was talking to me about it because Sam is not going to be in, but your boy will be holding it down. We got Carter, but we do got Sam behind the glass today. We also got the new guy, the rookie, Steven Risotto in the back, shadowing, learning. He was cutting up and learning how to do the Warriors games last night, the preseason, as the Warriors take out the Los Angeles Lakers. So always good to have another Italian here at the station. Steven Risotto, welcome. All right. We got a massive game this Sunday. It's the game of the weekend. Potentially game of the year material. The Niners, they've clawed back. They're 3-3. They're first in the division. The Chiefs, one of two teams, still unbeaten. First in their division, 5-0, coming off a bye. We all know what Andy Reid does coming off a bye. He does not lose. It rarely happens. He's lost 3 times when his team is coming off a bye, when the other team is not coming off a bye. Now, technically, the Niners are not coming off a bye, although it is a mini bye as they beat the Seattle Seahawks last week on Thursday Night Football. So they had a little more time to prepare for this, which is a good thing. But again, history has shown us Andy Reid has his team buttoned up when they come out of the bye, especially on the road where the Chiefs are 2-0 on the season. So you got the Chiefs undefeated and you got the Vikings undefeated, and they're the two teams left in both conferences that have yet to lose. Who the Vikings got this week? Vikings. Ooh, they got Lions. Ooh, there's some sexy matchups this morning. On Sunday morning, I should say. So you got that. You got Lions, Vikings leading into Niners, Chiefs. I can't wait. Joe Shasky's fired up. We just went for like some sort of handshake there that just didn't come to fruition. If you saw that, it's all right. It's preseason for all of us. That is great. I can't tell you what I'm talking about right now. This is an auditory medium, but Joe Shasky just flashed me maybe a potential costume that's going to be taking place on the Morning Roast. He's rocking his Golden State Warriors shirt today, so he's fired up about his dubs. Is he fired up about that Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins tandem on the court together? Wasn't bad yesterday. Didn't mind it. I got to say this, though. What was the combined total of that game? 3 pointers made? Like 18 for 5,000? Good God. And he had people at the end there when it was just garbage time chanting Bronny. Hey, Bronny had a nice little crossover on Steph. I'm not going to lie. Bronny. Just saying, they're chanting his name. Dalton Connect looked good, though. I will say that. That was the one probably takeaway if you're a Lakers fan. I mean, who's a Lakers fan at this station, am I right? But if you are a Laker fan, Dalton Connect, he looked great.
I feel bad for him.
I don't know if that mic's called it up, Joe Shasky, but that one over there is. Go ahead. Come on.
I feel bad for Bronny.
What do you feel bad about?
I feel like he knows it's all a fugazi. And like the poor kid, like he just can't win. Like his dad really set him up for failure.
Well, we'll see. Because it seems like he's probably going to go to the G League, and then he's going to figure out his own stuff, right? Is that the path that he's going to take? We'll see. But
you know when you got the job and you don't deserve it, or you got an A on the project and you totally lied and stole all the information, and deep down inside, you feel like a fraud. That's the way I legitimately feel tremendous empathy for that young man.
We'll see. The Bronny story has not yet been written, and maybe, just maybe, he becomes...
LeBron is writing it.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's what a dad does, all right? He puts his kids in a position to succeed, all right? And now he wants his son, I guess, to have a Call of Duty skin a la Kevin Durant and Devin Booker for some ungodly reason. That was the one that kind of got me. I was like, all right, Bronny wants this, Bronny wants that, and now let's tweet about it, and let's at EA Sports or whatever the hell does Call of Duty. Anyways, we're not going to talk Bronny the whole show. I want to talk to the people at 888-957-9570 because the NFL dominated the headlines yesterday. Like, I woke up and I saw the Jerry Jones cuts, and I immediately jumped onto the Morning Roast stream. I was like, I need to hear what these guys say because Bonte and Shasky, they've had their back and forth. RJ Sean, Bobby Boucher, whatever his name is, Bobby Belt, the producer over there as well. They've gone back and forth, and the Niners play the Cowboys. Speaking of which, are we going to do that again? Because the Niners play the Cowboys next week. Are we going to, or is it 2 weeks? Do they have a bye after this one? I got to check out the schedule. But, Joe, I'm not going to get distracted by what you're doing in the studio. I'm not. I promise. All right? So, no, yeah, the Cowboys next Sunday. Okay. So maybe we get them on to explain this whole situation. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, here is Jerry Jones joining 105.3 The Fan out in Dallas, an Odyssey station. So our teammates, nonetheless. The owner of the Dallas Cowboys, one of the most powerful owners in all of American sports, starts to get irritated about the line of questioning from the hosts over at 105.3 The Fan, RJ and Sean.
Jerry, I think the counter back when you said, where are you going to get the players? You can't get them this week is, and you're aware of all the off-season topics.
Yeah, but what is your counter? What is your damn counter?
My counter
I really want to know where you would go get it. Now, don't tell me about should gotten a guy in the off season.
Why not?
This isn't a damn word argument just because I'm not arguing with you. I'm dealing with how we line up against San Francisco, not what I did wrong last week or last month or 2 months ago or 2 years ago. If I really gave you guys a list of all the things I've done wrong over the last few years, you couldn't be on this program for the next 5 years steady and go over it. But every now and then you do some right things, and at the end of the day you add it up, and the rights give you a better spot than the wrongs. But if you think for any minute right now, there'll be one Super Bowl champion. What did the others do wrong? There's one Super Bowl champion. Now, we want to be that champion. And I'm sure not throwing the towel in today because of what happened out there Sunday. But I'm not going to sit here and waste a lot of energy, a lot of time. Let's talk about what I should have done back in 1907 or 2017. Shit, Ben. Come on. I've got more time than that, and I actually don't even have time on this great show for looking back at decisions.
All right, so Jerry not happy with this line of questioning and doesn't like the likes of RJ, Sean, and Bobby just, rightfully pointing out that they had a bad offseason and they had an opportunity to sign who was the guy that's probably the leader in the clubhouse for MVP is Derrick Henry. You just look at all the betting angles, all the betting spots, DraftKings. Derrick Henry is having a amazing season. Now, does he still have the same season in Dallas that he is with Baltimore? I don't know. But I know Derrick Henry is a future Hall of Famer and one of the greatest football players of the last decade. I do know that. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. It's him and McCaffrey that have dominated the running back position over the last 10 plus years. So, yeah, you messed up there, Jera. Absolutely. And just look at the product on the field. It's not good enough. You paid Dak Prescott all this money, and we know what Dak is. You had to pay him. He's a guy who can get you to the playoffs. In the playoffs, not great, but you have to pay a quarterback that can at least get you to the playoffs. So I was fine with that. Then CeeDee Lamb, you had to pay CeeDee. I get all that. But I don't want to hear, that it's unthinkable to ask that maybe you made mistakes in the offseason. Maybe you didn't add the depth that you needed to this offseason, and that's why you're struggling now. That's why you can't stop a nosebleed defensively against the run. You got guys like Diggs, not willing to tackle. Why? Because the opposing teams aren't passing. They don't need to pass when they're getting 5, 6, 7-yard chunks on the ground. And that's forcing your cornerback play to suffer and get exposed in the tackling game. It's just a bad look right now all along for the Dallas Cowboys. And it gets even worse as this interview goes on. Jerry talking about if the criticisms of the team are valid this year.
Okay. So, Jerry, 1970, a little different from this past off season in building the team we're talking about today, which there was a lot of criticism that you guys didn't add, didn't spend, and don't add and don't spend and are not aggressive enough with some of the problems that are still haunting the Cowboys today that we see play out on the field. That's the point of talking about the offseason.
I remember those criticisms very well. Okay, so what?
Are they playing out to be accurate?
What's your point? What's your point?
My point is, it seems like
Listen, let me tell you what I'll do. Let me tell you what I'll do about it. I will let us sit down and look at the decisions we've made over the last several years. Okay? I'll look at it. Now, if you think I'm interested on a damn phone call with you over a radio and sitting here and throwing all the good out with the dishwater, you have got to be smoking something over there this morning. I'm not. And I really don't, and I don't even want our listeners to listen to me, to talk about this is not your job. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job.
No, but you have graciously given your time, Jerry. You didn't have to give your time. Most owners don't speak to the media once a week. Joe Lacob, we love to have him at least once a year. Hell, we get him once a year for an hour in studio. Are you kidding me? We love that. We don't expect Joe Lacob to come on our airwaves at all throughout the regular season. Now, we were lucky enough to have a good relationship with the Warriors here as the flagship of the Golden State Warriors in 95-7 The Game, to have relationships with guys like Steve Kerr, Bob Myers in the past, Mike Dunleavy, who we've had on a multitude of times. We get players on throughout the year. Steph Curry is gracious enough to join us. Hell, Steph freaking Curry called in to wish one of our hosts here, Matt Steinmetz, a happy birthday. Got a great relationship with that team. But the moment that things start to crumble and you don't like the line of questioning that's happening, you don't like being called out because maybe, just maybe, you did make mistakes this offseason that are coming home to roost now. You can't just weasel your way out and say, oh, this is what people don't want to hear. No, people do want to hear that. Because you have created this, Jerry. You're the all-seeing eye. You're Sauron when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. You have your footprint and handprint on everything when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. You've created that narrative. It's not like, we have Steve Kerr on and we ask about oh, so who are they going to draft? Who are you guys going to draft? No, that's a Mike Dunleavy thing. You've created this czar persona here in Dallas that gives the fans like RJ, Sean, and Bobby it gives them the idea that you're calling all the shots and you're making all the shots and you do everything. The coach, the GM selection, everything. Nothing happens without your approval. So yes, their line of questioning is absolutely in the right. And this is the one, this next soundbite, that's really just, seriously, I know we've had our beef at the morning show here at 95.7 and going back, and I'm sure Bonte and Shasky were having a ball listening into reacting on all this music. interview, I should say. Although it was music, might have been sweet music to their ears off air. And throughout, just taking a quick step back. This is great pub for 105.3 The Fan, RJ, Sean, Bobby, all those guys, because we're all talking about it all across the nation. We're talking about not the hosts that look bad in this situation. No. It's Jerry freaking Jones that looks bad, especially after these comments.
Well, my job is to ask
why. A job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Jerry, we're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. You're not going to figure out what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, you need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
Jerry,
okay. Y'all really think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all of the things that I've done wrong and without going over the rights?
Well,
now, listen, we both know we're talking to a lot of great fans and a lot of great listeners. And I am very sorry for what happened out there Sunday. I'm sick about what happened Sunday. Now, I'm not talking to these yahoos on the end of this phone. I'm talking to you, the fans that are listening this morning. And we can spend a lot of time going over zigging and zagging. One of the stupidest things I've ever done that anybody has ever analyzed is by the Cowboys. It was an idiot that did that. So idiot things can turn into good decisions. Okay? Smart things can turn into bad decisions. The facts are that when you make one, you don't really know whether it's going to be good or not at the time. So let's just go ahead. I'm trying to answer your questions, man. You want some conversation this morning? You're getting it.
So you come on their station. They're asking legitimate questions. They're not, trying to do a gotcha segment. They're just asking about, hey, listen, this is where the team's at right now. Did you possibly make a mistake not going after this, that, and the other? And any normal, whether it's John Lynch, whether it's, Bob Myers in the past, whether it's Mike Dunleavy, hell, Buster Posey going forward. I don't know how he's going to speak to the media and stuff like that. No nonsense approach. Yeah, maybe that's something that we made a mistake on, or, maybe that's something we need to look into. But to just get so offended that you want to have the hosts replaced, first off, does he have the power to do that? I mean, Jerry Jones has a lot of power to do a lot of things. That would be a horrible look, I think, for him. A horrible look. Something so minuscule as sports talk radio hosts getting under your skin that you want to fire them or replace them because you don't like their line of questioning? No, absolutely not. That's why we love Joe Lacob here in the Bay Area, because you know what? Joe Lacob joins our station. He's done this the last couple of years, and fans call in to ask him questions about the future of the team. And heading into last season, there were a lot of question marks. There were fans calling in about Klay Thompson's future. And you know what? Joe could have been like, yeah, I'm not going to get into that. No, he answers the question. Now he does a political answer, say we'd love to have Klay here. We'd love for him to finish his career as a Golden State Warrior. We're very confident in that. And maybe he wasn't confident about it at all, but he said he was. And you know what? I'll listen to the guy because he came onto our station and he's given his time and the fans are asking questions. Now, there's some dumb questions that are asked, absolutely. Not dumb to the level Jerry's insinuating that RJ and Sean are asking, but it's... I was listening to that yesterday. I was like, is this guy for real? It's just a bad look overall. Horrible look. And the notion that NFL owners know more than guys like RJ and Sean just because they're NFL owners is laughable. Now, Jerry Jones has been a part of Super Bowl champion teams. He's a Super Bowl champion owner. Now, it's a long time ago, but he is. Whether that was Jimmy Johnson, more so on his plate than Jerry Jones, whatever. But Jerry has had a huge hand in the growth of the NFL. That much is true. And I will give him credit for that. The NFL is not here today and what it is today without the likes of a Jerry Jones. Hell, they're not in Las Vegas. That might make a lot of people upset around here. They might not be, all these expansion teams here that have moved, or our football back in Los Angeles having 2 teams. There might not be that without a Jerry Jones. For better or for worse. But the eyeballs, the clicks, everything is up, and he is a part of that. But the notion that just because you've had that much of an imprint on that game and on the revenue doesn't mean you're above criticism. No one is above criticism. And the whole line of questioning, to think that there was going to be some sort of gotcha at the end of that, was just shows where the Cowboys are at and where their owner is at, and it's just a bad place. A horrible place. And the Cowboys, they're going to be coming off a bye, taking on the 49ers. Good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Good freaking luck. Because either, and I think this is probably going to be the case, but we'll see as the week goes on. I'm having a tough time picking this game, but if the Niners lose this week to the Chiefs and then have the Cowboys at home, I think they're going to absolutely boat race the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Not even close. I feel great about that win or lose, to be honest. The Cowboys are just such a gross franchise right now when it comes to football play. It's just, nothing's good. And I said it a couple weeks on the morning roast. We were talking about who do we still think is going to win the division. We had guys saying, oh, I like the Eagles. I like that. I was the only one that picked the Washington Commanders. And even with that loss to the Baltimore Ravens, I still love the Commanders to win that division. The Eagles, Nick Sirianni's going at fans. It's a bad look. The Giants, they stink. Clean it up, Jerry. Clean it up. That wasn't the only news to come out of the owners' meetings yesterday, and I don't know if Jerry took that call at the owners' meetings. It kind of sounded like he did. But there was some other big news that happened. The greatest football player of all time is now an NFL owner. And we're going to get into that on the other side on the pregame show with Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
How's your home handling hot and chilly weather these days? For a comfortable home, you should consider proper weatherproofing. If you're working with a professional to upgrade or build a new home, be sure to talk with them about Golden State Lumber and Building Materials.
an award-winning publication that has provided in-depth historical accounts for over 30 years. And The Panorama, a quarterly newsletter covering ongoing activities and historical presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
Dub Nation, it's Steve Kerr. You're listening to the pregame show with Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
Thanks, Steve. Wow. Got Steve Kerr on the rejoin? Pre-game show, Joe Spadoni? He's pronounced my name like that? We must be pretty close. They're pretty tight. Steve, Kaminga, Looney, Moody, Buddy Hield, Pods. Steph was too busy, I guess, that day. He couldn't record a rejoin for me. That's fine. It's all right. He'll get me next time. He was too busy balling out yesterday. What was his greatest performance? Again, the three-point shot for both teams yesterday was it was tough. 11 of 40 for the Lakers and 14 of 45 for the Golden State Warriors as the Warriors beat the Lakers 111-97, remain undefeated in preseason play. So good on the Warriors there. You always like to, even if it's preseason, have that positive momentum hitting into the regular season. So the Warriors and Lakers will get back on it on Friday at Chase Center. So that should be some fun. I looked up the cost of tickets for that game. It's not cheap. I'll just say that for a preseason game. Young Benjamin and I like to go to those ones throughout the year. We like to do the summer league. We like to do the preseason games. It's nice to take the little kids to the games that really don't mean much. You can just sit down, relax. Little guy can watch the game. You can watch star power because even with those preseason games, you got Anthony Davis, you got Steph Curry, you got LeBron, Draymond, all the big names, right? So it's fun. But this time around, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Sorry. It's pretty penny for sure. That's all right. I do want to hear from the people that are going to go to the game, and I want to hear about expectations for the Warriors this season at 888-957-9570 as the show goes on. One segment down, two more to go here on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky of the Morning Roast. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of thoughts on Chiefs-Niners, on the Warriors yesterday, the starting lineup. Obviously, no Brandon Pajemski, who is dealing with a broken nose, but the one that was a little concerning, something to keep an eye on throughout the season, because this was kind of the big acquisition that a lot of people have a lot of hope for, and the high upside acquisition for the Golden State Warriors. Not to say that Kyle Anderson and Buddy Hield don't have high upside. When they're on, they're very good. Very good rotational players. And Buddy Hield's going to be coming off the bench in that sixth-man role. You know, him and Steph kind of trading off those high-volume three-point shooters. But DeAnthony Melton is the guy that a lot of Warriors fans have high hopes for on the offensive end, on the defensive end, everything. Lower back tightness. And Steve Kerr was there being cautious. They kept him out yesterday. Obviously dealt the back injury. That's something that, before a season starts, scares me a little bit. And a team that dealt with a plethora of injuries last season before that, definitely put that in the worry column of the Golden State Warriors heading into this season. Just leave it at that. That was my main takeaway from the game yesterday. I did not really care about anything else. You can say, oh, Moody looks great. I've seen Moses Moody look great in a lot of preseason games. Is it going to mean anything in the regular season? We'll see. At this point, that's great. Yeah, Moody looks like this. Moody looks like that. Great. Can I see it in a regular season game? Can I get consistent minutes for him in a regular season game? Only Steve Kerr knows the answer to that question. And again, Steve Kerr joining Wheeler and Dibbs every single week throughout the regular season. Just like Jerry Jones did. Or, did, maybe I should say. Not does, because maybe he's out with 105.3 The Fan, RJ, and Sean there. So, little dose of Warriors coverage there for you. And now, pivoting to what took place yesterday at the NFL owners' meetings. One Tom Brady, Thomas Patrick Brady, grew up here in the Bay Area, San Mateo, California, Sarah High School, went to Michigan, obviously was a 6th-round pick, wasn't expected to be much in the NFL level. Drew Bledsoe gets hurt, and then 7 Super Bowl trophies later is going down as the greatest NFL football player of all time. Sorry, Jerry. Sorry, the Walter Paytons of the world, the Jim Browns of the world, the LTs of the world. And that's Lawrence Taylor, although LaDainian Tomlinson's a pretty good player as well. It's Tom Brady. Dominated the position, the most important position in all of team sports, which is the quarterback position. And if you do that, you're the greatest player. Sorry, I don't make the rules. It is what it is. Well, he's now a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, as owners unanimously approved the sale. So technically, it's a 5% for Tom Brady and 5% for his business partner. But really, it feels like 10% because Tom is also part of said business. And you had 0.5% going to Richard Seymour, another former Patriot / former Raider. Remember, he wasn't All-Pro with the Raiders, and a Hall of Famer. So you got Tom Brady, Mr. Patriot, and Richard Seymour, Patriot / Raider, joining the ownership group. And this begs the question. There's no heir in the Mark Davis family tree. Al had Mark. Mark doesn't have a kid, a nephew, a niece, anything like that to bequeath the Raiders to. Are we looking at potentially Tom Brady being the majority owner of the Raiders in the next, 15, 20, 25 plus years? It's early, way early. But just keep that in your back pocket because it was a savvy move on both the Raiders and Mark Davis's part and also on Tom Brady's part. Tom Brady for sure, because you're investing into a league that it's a cash cow. So not only is he making a boatload of cash being the color analyst for Fox Sports and their number one broadcast crew alongside Kevin Burkhardt, who's going to have the call this Sunday for Chiefs Niners. And I see this message from the, and no, that's a fake news 707. Dave's girlfriend's pregnant. That was all fake news. Come on, get with the program. Where was it? I just saw it. Did they delete the text message? Can you do that? But someone asked the question, maybe it was the 510, why the Chiefs and the Niners game isn't on primetime. That is technically a primetime. It's America's game of the week. It's the biggest game of the afternoon slot. And Fox and CBS want to protect those games. They don't want other networks like an ESPN or like an NBC to poach those games. So they have a list of games that they can, put a protective barrier over, if you will, and say, no. These are ours. You can't touch these. And this Chiefs-Niners games is one of those. Plus, it's too early to flex certain ones to Sunday night or Monday Night Football. Too early in the season. So they knew this heading into the season. This is going to be one of our cash cow games. This is what it's going to be all about. Chiefs-Niners, Super Bowl rematch. Don't touch it. And they're not. So you're going to get Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt on the call again this weekend, just like we had on the call a couple weeks ago when it was the Cardinals and the 49ers. And I thought Tom was actually pretty good. Talking about the quarterback play specifically, talking about Kyler Murray needing to step up, needing to take control of that offense in a time where he ended up doing that. And the Cardinals got a win. The 49ers gagged that away. And I haven't had a chance to talk about that Thursday night game at all. They almost tried to gag that one away too. Lose Jordan Mason, but Isaac Guerrero doing his thing and icing the game. Awesome by the rookie. And Brian Baldinger actually talked about the rookie's big night yesterday with the roast.
And then, you look at just the whole rookie class in that game, Guerrero and Pooney, like the whole class really showed up, I thought. And they all impacted it. I mean, nobody really knew what Isaac Guerrero could do. But, when he came out of Louisville, if you watch his final game against USC last year, that was his best game because he'd been a rotational running back, and then the starter got hurt at Louisville, and he played great against USC in the bowl game. And then he went and tested, and he ran a 4.39 at 218. Like, he's a big back that can run. You saw the speed, at the end of that game. And, he'd been fairly pedestrian, but his back's it's a little dance with the offensive line, where the holes are, when they're going to open up, how patient you got to be. And he got his carries the other night, and he delivered him.
So reeling this conversation back to where it started when it came to Tom Brady becoming a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. He has all the money when it comes to the broadcasting gig, all the money he made as a player, whether that was just through contracts, whether it was through endorsements, and now being a minority owner, having a 5%, really a 10% stake in the team, just good business. And for Mark Davis, hey, this could end up being a Michael Jordan situation or a Derek Jeter situation where the guy as a player just doesn't match the guy as an executive, and it could blow up. We've seen it. It happens. It might not work. But I don't fault a guy like Mark Davis that can look at himself and say, you know what, I need help in certain areas. And he spoke to that yesterday. I need Tom Brady to be in here to help me find the next quarterback of the future. Now, you can look at it as that's a shot to Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Yeah, it is. Because they haven't been good enough, and the team hasn't been good enough. That's a shot at Luke Getsy. That's a shot at Antonio Pierce. And best believe Antonio Pierce is on notice now. When you got a guy like Tom Brady who's obsessed with winning at the highest level, that puts the whole franchise on notice. That Tom's going to be in Mark Davis's ear a lot when it comes to, the hiring of a head coach or the selection of a quarterback. He's definitely going to be involved in conversations with Tom Telesco, general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders. So very interested and intrigued to see how this all plays out in the years to come down in Las Vegas. 888-957-9570 is the number. On the other side, Davante Adams is now a New York Jet. Amari Cooper is now a Buffalo Bill. Are the 49ers going to make any big moves? Are they going to get in on any of these players, these big names? We'll discuss on the other side as the pregame show rolls on 95.7 The Game.
Liam Maitland here. As the leaves begin to turn, there's no better time to cozy up your home. This fall, transform your space with a new fireplace insert or hot tub like mine. From Creative Energy, imagine a crackling fire on a crisp evening or sinking into a soothing hot tub under the stars. With our Cozy Up into Fall sale, now is the perfect time to make it a reality. Save big on all fireplace inserts and
Nation? It's Kyle Anderson. You're listening to the pregame show with Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
Thanks, Kyle. Cam. Is it the best Cartman impression? Cam. Yo, hey, Cam. I love watching slow-mo play. Just an interesting player to watch. Guys that have releases that are funky or just styles, I enjoy it. And yesterday, the Warriors, they've had a couple different players that are interesting to watch. Trace Jackson-Davis, 10 boards for him, looking good. Draymond, 10 points, 10 boards, couple assists, not mad at it. Jonathan Kuminga, look at those assist numbers getting up there, dishing it out a little bit. Selfless basketball I saw yesterday, and it was refreshing. Kyle Anderson, by the way, 10 points, 3 boards, 2 assists in 17 minutes overall. Moses Moody led the team with 21 points, 5 boards, 2 assists. But we know the story with Moses Moody. Let's see it in the regular season. I'm not going to get excited about preseason basketball. I'm just not. I refuse to. Same way I refused to get excited about Kenny Pickett in the preseason last year. What did that mean? Oh, it means he was off the Steelers a year later. Night, goodbye, see you later. Or was that 2 years ago? So yeah, I have my years all mixed up. Doesn't matter. That's the last I'm going to talk about Kenny Pickett on this show. We got one more segment before handing off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky of the Morning Roast. By the way, let me pull up my phone because I'm so prepared here on the pregame show to see who we got on the show today. We got, Dannon Hughes, the great Dannon Hughes, former Chief, to break down Niners Chiefs Week 7 showdown. Battle of 2 first-place teams. Hey, you can sugarcoat it. You can cut and whatever you want to do. Fact of the matter is, these are 2 first-place teams going at it this week. And outside of, I want to say the Vikings-Lions, because that is a sexy matchup. Sucks that Aiden Hutchinson was lost for a year. God, that was brutal. Ugh, just sick for him, sick for the Lions fans. I'm not ready to pour dirt on them like everyone else is. You're not winning a Super Bowl without Aiden. We'll see. Because I think a lot of that offense, and I know that he's the heart and soul of that defense and that defensive line, and I know they're going to trying to trade for a pass rusher. I know Hassan Reddick's been hanging out and not doing much, but that kind of makes sense, right? Like Hassan Reddick, Detroit, makes way too much sense not to get a deal done there. So we'll see on that. But that's the matchup to look forward to this weekend. In the early slate, it's Vikings-Lions leading up to Chiefs-Niners at Levi Stadium. We're excited. We're getting ready for it all week long right here on 95.7 The Game. And on Friday, we got breakfast with Baldy with the Morning Roast. We got 20 of our diehard listeners joining Baldy for some breakfast. Baldy's going to be live in the studio for 4+ hours. We're going to have a little setup out there where Bonte, Shasky, and Baldy are going to be hanging out on the table in our little sales area / our, not really a conference room. I don't even know what we call it over there. The arena? Is that what it is? It's an area in a building that's very tightly compacted. Anyways, enough of that. The Chiefs. What would a win over the Kansas City Chiefs mean for the 49ers? Would it just be a regular season win? Would it be an exercising of demons? Would it be a mental hurdle that they need to clear? What would a 49ers win over the Chiefs mean? Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, joined the Morning Roast yesterday, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. Here's what he had to say.
I think it would remind everyone of the fact that the Chiefs are kind of a phony 5-0. You look at their performances, you look at their games, they keep finding a way to win, which is what they do in the postseason pretty much all the time. But it would be a reminder that most of the time the Chiefs have to scratch and claw and fight for everything they get. And the 49ers are good enough to do it.
A little strong to say the Chiefs are a Fugazi 5-0. Like, a Fugazi 5-0 would be a team like, I don't even know if they were 5-0, but remember the Vikings of a couple years ago where they just kept winning game after game in ridiculous fashion? Like, that's when I say it's a little Fugazi. Like, I even said it earlier this year. The Saints being 2-0 and having 2 blowout wins over the Panthers and the Dallas Cowboys, that was fugazi. It's like, I don't believe in the Saints still after this. I actually think less of the Cowboys now than I initially thought. That's fugazi. The Chiefs have earned the right, I think, to be like, you know what? It actually scares me that they are 5-0 and haven't even played their best. That speaks to the quality on defense, the quality of the head coach, and quality of the quarterback to find ways to get S done. Now, we're going to get a lot of fans. We're going to get a lot of, angry people text me right now. No, it's the refs, but don't. It's the refs. It's the refs. They're out to get us, please. Please. Miss me with that. All right? I'm a Raider fan. I know all about the refs the last 2 decades. They're in the Chiefs division. Miss me with that crap. The Chiefs were the best team in both the Super Bowls. They had the best quarterback and they had the best head coach. And they had the better defense both times. Sorry. That was the difference in the game, not the refs. It was that Patrick Mahomes was better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Patrick Mahomes was better than Brock Purdy. Andy Reid was better than Kyle Shanahan. Steve Spagnuolo was better than Kyle Shanahan. That was the difference in both of them, not the refs. Oh, but holding on Bosa, please. Miss me with that. Miss me with that. And you'll have a chance this Sunday to, I'm not going to say exercise the demons because that insinuates they got to beat them in the Super Bowl. This win is going to feel good, but it's not going to change a lot of 49ers fans and their deep hatred for those Super Bowl losses. Not even close. But it'll feel good. And it'll be a win that, could potentially spark a run for the San Francisco 49ers. And we'll see. We'll see if it does. That was the win last year coming out of the bye against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was the win that's like, okay, all right, we got something here. And then you go on to blow out Philadelphia, who was undefeated at the time, in Philly. That was incredible. You just stole all of their confidence in one game. You absorbed it. You were the more confident team, and you were a quarter away from winning the Super Bowl because of it. Could that be a win this Sunday? A similar type of win? Are we due for a blowout? Like, do the 49ers have to blow this team now? Do they just have to win? And I heard Bobby in Los Altos call yesterday. I love Bobby. We posted on our social media feed. I'm getting all of them, by the way. I'm on the YouTube shorts, the TikTok, all this sort of stuff. So I keep, going through, and 95.7 The Game popped up, and it was Bobby in Los Altos on with Steiny and Goo, one of our regular callers. And he was saying, I need to see this 49ers team beat the Chiefs in a tight game. I need to see them drive down the length of the field and have a game-winning touchdown or a field goal against this team. I need to see the defense make a game-winning play against Patrick Mahomes when they're trying to drive down the field for a game-winning field goal or a game-winning touchdown. That's what I need to see to feel confident about this team beating them. He said if it's a blowout for the 49ers, it means nothing to me. That was interesting to me. How the team wins matters more. But if you blow them out, then that actually speaks a lot to the 49ers because you blow out a team that was off a bye, that hadn't lost, that has the best defense in football right now, that has the best quarterback in football. And yes, maybe the stats aren't going to back me up there. I think Joe Burrow is probably the best quarterback in football right now. Him or Josh Allen. But you blow out this team, I disagree. That means that things are going very well for the 49ers, and maybe, just maybe, they found something that clicks. That being said, I think this is going to be a tight game. And by the way, what is the over-under on this game? Pull up DraftKings.com, 888-957-9570. Good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for school, as NFL Week 7 is going to get underway here tomorrow. What is the Thursday Night Football matchup tomorrow? Thursday Night Football matchup. Bucks and come on. What do we got? It's not the Bucks. No, the Bucks already played on Thursday night. Why is it taking so long? 888-957-9570. Let me know. I'm all over the place trying to find all this crap. This is why you got producers to do this stuff for you. But, sometimes I'm riding solo here as Sam, Bonte, and Shasky are all going through everything in the back right now. All right, I found it. Apologies. Broncos Saints tomorrow. Oh, God. Bo Nix and Derek Carr. Oh, no, it's not Derek Carr. He's out with an oblique. Bo Nix and Spencer Rattler. Actually, I'm interested in that game. It's going to be a stinker, though, offensively, I think. There's going to be a lot of potential turnovers from both quarterbacks, and it's going to be a defensive struggle. But getting back to what I initially thought, the over-under on this game for the 49ers and the Chiefs, 47. Feels right. You know, it feels like a 21-20 kind of a game here, or 24-20, something like that. I wouldn't touch that. Niners are favorites, 1.5-point home favorites. If this was on a neutral field, it'd be the Chiefs that would be favored, but they're at home. Right now, I'm leaning 49ers to win this game. I am. Now, what do I base that off of? I'm not sure. And it's not, it's not great radio say. I just got a feeling, like the Black Eyed Peas. I got a feeling, it does feel like a potential perfect storm, right? Oh, Andy Reid never loses off a bye. 49ers, they haven't really had a tremendously impressive victory over a good team this year. I don't think the Seahawks are very good. The Jets aren't very good. And the Cardinals aren't very good. And the one really good team they played, the only other undefeated team that they've played, is the Minnesota Vikings. And they kicked their ass. The final score doesn't indicate that, but really they kicked their ass. So we'll see. We're up against it, though. I got to go. Bonte Hill, Joe Shasky, Morning Roast. They're up next. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good morning, everybody.
You're listening to 95.